Happy July! How have you guys been enjoying your summer? How have you been savoring the weather, the sunshine, the new growth, the colors? Have you been able to take time and enjoy it with friends? One way that I've been doing it lately is intentionally walking when I don't have a time limit I have to get back for, so I can let the dogs pause when they want to smell. I've been carrying treats with me as well, so that when they stop to watch other animals without barking, they get a treat. So trying to train them to observe without making a ruckus, and the same for when they pass people. It's kind of a problem, if you can tell. I don't know if you can relate if you've got dogs. Sometimes they disrupt the peace of others instead of being something fun along the walk. Anyway, I hope you're getting out and enjoying it. We've gotten tons of rain here, so everything's growing wonderfully, which means more time mowing, but you know, it's outside, so trying not to complain about that stuff too. Anyway, it's awesome to have colorful flowers and lush greenness with all the different textures, and Pepper has decided that she would like to add some sound texture today and grab some of her toys. So give me just a second here. Last month I walked you through making a little zine with a piece of paper, and I hope you did that. Love to see what you made. I filled mine up with some flower sketches and then added a few bird sketches, little whimsy. Haven't decided quite what to do with it to finish it up, so that might be something I work on in studio time. Found a new art supply that I will recommend, these acrylic markers. Everybody always talks about Posca pens, but I have found these to work great. They come in a whole bunch of colors and have two tips. One is like a polka dot, great one for doing dots. And then the brush tip. This is mainly what I've used, is the brush tip for some art stuff that I've been doing lately, and they dry super fast, which is great because then you can add layers. So I'm trying to figure out pencils, watercolor, paint pens, maybe all of those for this, maybe adding words, not quite sure. What did you fill your zine up with this month? What would you like to keep adding to it? One of the challenges I gave myself for that zine was observing nature, of slowing down, of savoring, and if I haven't mentioned it already, slowing down for the dog walks and letting them smell. I just got back from a walk with the dogs and chose to pause where the road comes really close to the water and let Pepper jump in for a little bit of a swim. There's something wonderful about slowing down and savoring and enjoying and just being fully present in a moment without having to worry about getting back to something. And there's lots of different rewards that we receive from that, right? Seeing color and texture details, of watching the dogs have fun, of watching other people enjoy a moment and be filled with pleasure, delight. Getting that extra smile or the giggle for a day is always really nice. Recently, I was rewarded with this on a walk, just laying on the ground. Never know where a treasure is gonna show up for you. I haven't decided what to do with it. Maybe there's another shadow box that I'll add to my collection, but if anybody knows what kind of bee makes these little hives, it is super tiny, but I love that there's a little bit of honeycomb in there just loose, and all the different shades. This month I thought we would focus on seeing things afresh, of being present and noticing where God is in the moment, and digging into this book, Reverse Thunder, the Revelation of John, and the Praying Imagination. So it was the Praying Imagination that caught my attention when I looked at this and decided to purchase it. For whatever reason, it did not click to me that this book was all about the book of Revelations in the Bible. And if you can see here, I've got some bent over corners. I have written a ton of notes, lots of outlining. This is why I need actual books. I've done some sketches in here. I learned so much going slow in this book and realized it's been a while since I've sat down and done some, do I want to call it heavier reading? Sometimes I say it's like if you want to chew on a book, that kind of reading. You go slow. Sometimes you just read a page of it, sometimes a couple pages. Very rarely did I read like a chapter at a time until today. I actually read the last 2 chapters today because I was excited about it. I wanted to finish it and I wanted to share it with you. And anyway, in studio time, this is what we're gonna go through. Lots of ideas in here about how to use our imagination, and I've got some art journaling that I'd like to do in response to what this brought up. But for today, for the short kind of challenge or art project of Let's Have Coffee this July, I would like to encourage or challenge you to write down, to journal with words or images, your thoughts about the book of Revelations in the Bible. To write down the things that you've learned or heard or thought about it. Do you like the book? Do you have questions or doubts? Does the book confuse or cause you to fear? There's some weird stuff in the book. There's some weird imagery. But as I read this book, Reverse Thunder, Eugene really transformed that for me, and I think I've never heard it taught or preached the way he did, and it's a really encouraging book now. Now I can't wait to go back in and actually read what Revelations, as it's written in the Bible, says with this new perspective. So again, I'll put the link below. But the main challenge for today, before we really get into things, is to go back into the Bible in your favorite version and read Revelations, to refresh your mind with what's in there, and to write down your thoughts, to pray to God and ask Him to reveal it afresh for you. What is He trying to say to you in Revelations? In the studio time this month, I'll share more of my insights and my many notes that I took in here. There's lots of good stuff. I think I said that I put some sketches in here. So this one really stuck out to me recently. It compares Psalm 23 and Revelations 19. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. So just recapturing that imagery, He prepares a table in the presence of our enemies. He talks about how salvation is a war and a meal. It's both. We lounge and are refueled and refreshed and enjoying camaraderie with Christ in the ordinary. And we're ready at a moment's notice to enter the war. That's just one little snippet. I also took a class, and this might be what we do, this kind of idea for an art project in one of the studio times. I was taking a class by Effie Wild, and we were doing monochromatic stuff. I did all of this with those paint markers I showed you earlier, and it's silhouettes, shadows. It's the words, or the bulk of the words, from Deep Enough to Dream by Chris Rice. If you haven't heard that song, I'll put a link to that as well in the notes here. So I'll put a link for Reverse Thunder, about how God uses our imagination to reveal more of Himself to us. In preparation for our studio times this month, and just if you want to do it on your own as well, journaling about your thoughts of Revelations, reading Revelations, maybe going to Bible Project Online and looking at their summary or their videos on Revelations, getting this book by Eugene Peterson. Pepper says, yes, get the book. It's worth digging into, stretching your mind a little bit, listening to the song Deep Enough to Dream by Chris Rice, journaling your thoughts, praying for fresh revelations of what revelation means to you. That's going to be our focus for this month. Prayer, imagination, art, God's fresh revelations, and just being in the moment. Looking forward to more conversations with you and hearing what He draws your attention to.